Welcome to the channel, I'm James, and today we're going to look at BP, otherwise known as British Petroleum, using my stock valuation methods. We're going to be looking at discounted free cash flow models and the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value to give my fair value of BP in 2022. Is this stock a buy or a sell? So firstly, just talking a little bit about BP, they are currently $33 a share. On the year, you can see they're up 53%, which is easily beating the market. And in the year to the day, which is since the 1st of January, they're up 24%. At the bottom of the pandemic, when they were hit the hardest, they were at $14 a share and have now gone up almost $20 to $33 a share. I did a video in May saying it was a buy, so that would have been a great time to buy. But I also did a video in October telling you this is a great time to buy. Hopefully you guys bought it then, but if you didn't, I still think this stock has a way to go up. So let's have a quick look at my steps first. BP has a market cap of 107 billion, pays a 3.85% dividend, and that ex-dividend date is the 17th of Feb. So buy before then if you want the shares. So is BP's PE ratio, easy for me to say, less than the market? Yes, it has a low ratio of about 14.7 and the market is about 25, so that is a pass. If we go to Yahoo Finance, they have the 2018, 2019 and 2020 numbers with the trailing 12 months. So you can see it is down from 2018, but is up massively from 2020. Now, if we just have a look at BP's latest financial statement, you can see they're reporting slightly different numbers, 163 billion in 2019, 109 in 2020, but 164 in 2021. So these are a little bit different from the Yahoo Finance numbers, but it's showing you the correct story. If we compare to 2020, it is up almost 50% and is more than what it was in 2019. So if we look at the stock price in 2019 and 2020, in 2019 it was about $44 a share. So based on the revenues of what BP is doing, it should be worth a little bit more. Next, we want to see if the profit is increasing, and profit has gone from 9.3 billion to 8.4. So yes, that is a fail, but I'm going to tell you the same story I always do on these. Look at 2018, look at 2019, 9 billion, 4 billion, in 2020 minus 20 billion, but now they are, according to Yahoo Finance, 6.5 billion. But if we look at the actual financial statements provided by BP, you can see that the profit and loss is actually 8.4 billion. So it is not quite up to 2018 levels, but more than 2019 and a heck of a lot more than 2020 where they're in the minus. So it's trending in the right direction again, which is excellent to see. Can you please give a like on the video? It really helps me out. Let's try and get this to 20 likes. Let's go for 20. That's a good number. Right, and the next one is, are they buying back their shares? No, it's gone from 3.328 billion to 3.371 billion. So that is a fail, but I want to draw your attention to this article, which is written about the earnings. This is by an analyst on the 8th of Feb. If we read here, the group announced a fourth quarter dividend worth 5.46 cents, so that's good. And the group announced another further 1.5 billion in share buybacks. And if the price of oil is about $60, they're going to be doing around 4 billion in buybacks by 2025. So currently this is a fail, but they are doing share buybacks as well, what we want to see as reward shareholders. And finally, is the free cash flow increasing? Yes, it is. 6.1 billion to almost 12.7. So that is excellent. It's almost doubled. If we look at Yahoo Finance here, this is the trailing 12 months before it was released. It went 6.1, 10.3, minus 144 million, and is now up to, well, 8.7 here. But as I said, it's 12. So actually highest it's been in the last 4 years. If you can see here on the financial statements, how we get free cash flow is cash from operating activities minus capital expenditures, 23.6 billion minus 10 is around about 12 billion. And if we compare it to the previous years, you can see that was the minus 144 million. And then in 2019, around about 10. So free cash flow is increasing massively. That is what we want to see. So what does that give us overall? 2 passes, 3 failures. Revenue is down but increasing massively, so that's good. Profit is almost where it was and increasing. And they're not buying back shares at the minute, but they will be. So that could be another positive. This stock could very easily turn into 5 passes. And the free cash flow ratio is the market cap divided by the free cash flow, 8.44, which is very, very low. And is the dividend safe? Yes, it is. 12 billion in free cash flow, 4.3 in dividends. So even if they increase the dividend, this is still very safe. Now we're going to go to discounted free cash flow and Buffett-Graham intrinsic value models. We've calculated the future free cash flows, and this is estimating that it's actually under what it'll be in 2021, with about 10 billion increasing pretty steadily. So what does that give us? Well, it gives us a fair value of $72 a share, 111% discount. Now you may say that seems pretty high. So if we compare it to 2018, where it was around about $45 a share, this stock can still go up higher because they're generating more free cash flow and more profit than they were then, and the revenue is steadily catching up. So 72 is a bit on the high side, but I do not think it's unreasonable. And on the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value, this is taking earnings per share and expected growth rate. Now, as per Yahoo Finance, the expected growth rate of the next 5 years is minus 3%. So this is going to give us a very low number, fair value of $5.63. I do not think that is going to be the price of BP. If we look what analysts are saying, analysts said that they're probably going to increase on the bullish side about 5%. So if we were to put that in our model, it would say that BP has a fair value of around about $41 a share, 41.63 to be exact. So that would say that it is a buy. So both of the models really like BP. One more than other is obviously the discounted free cash flow model likes it more, but the Buffett-Graham intrinsic value says it's a buy if the expected growth rate is positive. Now I do think it is positive. The analysts have said that they're expecting revenue to grow over the next 2 years. So let's say 5% growth rate is not too on the high side. In the past 5 years, you can see here BP grew at about 17%, and the current year will grow at about 7%. So let's try those numbers out to see what that gives us. We'll go with 17 first. 17, then it would be a $95 stock. I think that's a bit high. And if it continued to grow at about a 7%, that would be a $50 share price. So I would still say that this stock is a buy according to both models. And finally, we're just going to have a quick look at some of the technicals here. We've got moving averages, 50-day in green, 100-day in yellow, and a 200-day in red. And what are we seeing right now? Well, the stock price is above all three of the major moving averages. That is a massive bullish sign. And if we go back to what's happened recently, if the stock hit the 200-day, it's pretty much acted as a support level here. It's dropped a little bit below, but immediately bounced back, and same again here. So bullish at the minute, but if the stock was to go back to that 27 level, that would be a definite buy signal. And if we look at the MACD, we're seeing a couple of very bullish signs. Firstly, the MACD and signal line have crossed, which is notified by here and the green. You can see it switched back briefly for a couple of days, but it's now gone back up. And the other bullish sign is the fact that both of these are above the zero line here, 1.01 and 1.07. The only worry with this is when BP has done this over the last year, it's had these big moves up and then kind of trailed off a little bit. So it looks like this may be consolidating for a bit and then maybe even starting to regress. So maybe hold off right now if you're looking at MACD, but still overall, very bullish signs. And finally, we're going to look at RSI, which is the relative strength. Is the stock overbought or oversold? This is on the daily. We'll then be looking at the weekly. You can see it's trending on the overbought regions here. It was only being overbought this last year when it had this exact similar movement where it went from 23 to 30, then sold off a bit, and then had another shoot up here. So that is a slight worry. And if we look on the weekly, you can see it's actually trending to overbought regions as well. The only time BP has been in undersold regions from basically 2017 was in the pandemic, and then that second drop there in October and November. So normally the stock is trending about average to overbought. So not massive worry, but it is on the upper side. And one last thing I just want to draw attention to is sort of these points of support and resistance that we've seen here with BP. The ultimate level at the bottom was around about $15 a share. I don't think we're going to be hitting that level again. And if we look at these series of tops that's happened now, BP has actually broke through this. It broke through, then dropped down, and has broke right back through again. So this is very untested for BP since the pandemic. And the final thing we want to draw to is the pre-pandemic numbers. So if we can get above that, which would be around about $39 a share, that would be a massive bullish move, and the sky's the limit after that point. But it needs to break through this level. If it doesn't break through this level, we could see a bit of a drop, but this is pre-pandemic levels, and that would really show the market's faith in the stock if it was to break through that. Right guys, thanks for watching. Please give it a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys next time.